Hi guys, so today I'm going to talk about nice guys and how nice guys are perceived by other men, women, and society. I recently had a discussion with a friend who was of the view that women don't seem to really understand when a man is being nice the same way that men do. The perception of what nice actually means is different for nice guys and women, which is why there's a difference in how everyone seems to think about who nice guys really are and if there's a reason for them to be nice. Many women spoke on national television back in the 80s and 90s about how awful their husbands were and how they actually desired a good person or a nice guy. And I believe it was essentially an effort to socially prepare many males from Generation X to become nice guys. Because at that time, there was a greater supply of bad boys and nice guys were limited. When women spoke, many of us men took them at face value rather than comprehending their genuine intentions, since we were too young to grasp what a man test was back then. To help you understand this, a man test is a test that women put men through in order for them to figure out the type of man he really is. Even though I was too young to understand what a man test was, I passed it unknowingly because I made the decision to prioritize my appearance over being a decent or nice man. At that young age, I would express my principles and ideas through my physical appearance and the clothes that I wore. Maybe I realized that women will make an exception for kind people if they had other desirable physical or material attributes, like attractive bodies, good looks, or even a lot of money. When people say they want a nice guy, they actually mean a nice-looking person rather than a nice character or personality. I think many men confuse good behavior and good appearance. The majority of males I've observed interpret the word nice as referring to their behavior rather than their physical appearance. In high school, I concentrated more on my physical appearance than on my inner self. Despite frequent criticism from both genders for my actions, I continued to attract girlfriends, while guys with great personalities but average appearances would commonly remain single. A woman who is overweight or obese and has a terrific personality is in the same boat as an average-looking man who has a fantastic personality. Point is that looks matter more than your personality, especially in the eyes of women. They may say they want a nice guy, but they want that nice guy to be better than just nice physically. A nice personality is just a byproduct. The majority of males in our culture today are average-looking, and it doesn't take much effort to remain that way. The average-looking man can stay average by being average and not doing anything about it. But I'd bet it takes the majority of a man's day to work out, dress nicely, and earn the money to appear better than average. However, pouring his energies into things in the physical realm also causes him to suffer internally. This is because when a person spends much of the day focusing on his body, he is bound to sacrifice the time that could have been used at work, business, or to generate income through another hustle. A guy won't be able to attain the personal balance required to be consistently successful and give time to both his body and his work unless he can meticulously plan his day to devote his limited energy to both his looks and personality. But for males going their own way, if they want to be single, they can work toward having wealth and peace of mind without having to spend time chasing women. Those who continue to date and seek closeness and companionship likely need to work on both. And I think some women are misinformed about what a nice guy is too, because they are misinterpreting what other women and cultures are generally saying. If women aren't intelligent enough to understand what a nice guy actually means to the female psyche, they may try to make a perfectly excellent man who looks good on the outside and is successful into a mushy nice guy. I was a person who spoke his thoughts when I was in my previous relationship. I would exercise and maintain my sense of style, but because I long ago focused my identity on my looks, my personal life suffered. I viewed it in terms of my income and appearance. I defined it based on the opinions of others rather than on my own views of the world. My ex convinced me to start focusing on my inner self and attend therapy so that I learned how to act better when we were out in public with her and her friends. And now that I think about it, I think she was embarrassed by my uncontrolled and impulsive conduct since it made her uncomfortable around her friends while I was with her. I thus began focusing more on my nice guy personality and less on my outward appearance as I began to identify myself. I stopped talking about myself, quit working out, and stopped being stylish instead of being more passive and allowing the world to take care of things. I began concentrating on issues I had no idea I had and trying to address those instead. Meanwhile, this led to brand new issues that I was completely unaware of. I lost interest in upholding my previous principles and altered myself to please my girlfriend. I failed the man test she put me through. I sacrificed my external appearance while working on a rich and fulfilling inner life. I agreed to let her mold me into a decent and considerate person because I believed she would value those traits and be drawn to me more as a result. But turning into a nice guy had the opposite effect. She was first drawn to the virtues I possessed, but they were essentially replaced by traits that made her feel bad about herself because she didn't have the same nice guy traits, so to speak. As a result of exaggerating your masculinity, which increases your ego, self-confidence, and women's attraction to you, you may start to believe your own nonsense and turn it into reality. Your success may also become a self-fulfilling prophecy since people are drawn to confident individuals. When you talk highly of yourself, it might backfire if you're too elderly or if you're surrounded by individuals who think of you as a dictator. However, you can generally do whatever you want as long as you behave independently and don't harm anybody else. I see nothing wrong with you acting like a politically incorrect person if you want to. And a lot of women find that appealing in a man, particularly if he has good looks. Consider a person in the physical prime of his life and put his images on Tinder. He will get every match swiped right back at him. But what if he were only average looking and a nice guy? Would he still get the same amount of responses and matches? Most likely not. If a man works hard to maintain his appearance by working out, in my opinion, wearing nice clothes and amassing wealth sets off an unconscious thought in women's minds that he's not a kind man or a nice person. He is aggressive and eager to hurt others to advance and get all of those material items, even though he does all of it lawfully. Therefore, in my own life, I'm currently attempting to strike a balance between maintaining a rich inner existence while also seeing development in my physical and financial situation. I know that's what it takes to make women more interested, but I also know what it takes for me to feel good about myself, and between the two, I have balance. But if I speak to a lady and I'm actually a nice guy on the inside, I frequently have to mask that fact. If not, she will step all over me, and if I think they're using me, I can just project some narcissism, which will make them think I'm not such a good man after all, but rather a tough guy who's self-assured and full of himself. Sometimes we as males have to put on a show and deceive ourselves into thinking that our act doesn't stink in order to function in this female-first environment. If we can accomplish that, we can go from the nice guys finishing the last category to presenting an entirely different persona to many women who are unaware of the rich inner lives we truly lead in addition to merely projecting great worth on the outside. Women, on the other hand, are more inclined to place a higher emphasis on their outside appearance than their inner selves. That is one of the grim and terrifying realities of our lives. So that's it for today, guys. Until next time.